Italian Football Podcast.
Just to finish off, Giorgio Chiellini. Let's pay tribute to Giorgio Chiellini, who announced his retirement from football on Tuesday. He has, of course, spent the last 2 seasons at LAFC, and he announced his retirement after LAFC lost the MLS Cup final on Saturday. So, from a Juventus point of view, this is somebody who is a Juventus legend, a symbol of Juventus, 18 years at Juventus, 561 appearances, the third most appearances in Juventus history, only behind Alessandro Del Piero and Gigi Buffon. Trophies, incredible trophy haul, 9 Serie A titles, 5 Coppa Italias, 5 Super Cups, reached the Champions League final twice, 19 trophies in total for Juventus. Only Buffon has won more trophies for Juve. So he is a Juve legend. He's a complete Juve legend. He will be remembered as a world-class defender, one of the best defenders in the world for a decade or more, one of the best defenders of his generation in the world. A fierce competitor, aggressive, physically strong, brave, brilliant tackler, brilliant positionally and tactically, outstanding in the air. He scored over 50 goals in his career, which is actually pretty impressive, I think, for a centre-back. Also, and I think he never got enough credit for this, deceptively good on the ball. He was very good at breaking the press with a little burst up the pitch, even though he was, sometimes come across as a bit awkward technically, and even joked about that himself. But he made that little burst, that little breakout from the press, which is so important, even in modern football. So I think he's deceptively good in that way on the ball. But certainly, and I know you love this about him, Nima, is that he's an old school defender. He's probably the last real
Furbo.
Yeah, probably the last real old school Italian defender, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, he is. He's the old of the old mold. We don't see him.
Like the Eckwood, the Gentiles, the Ferrara, Cannavaro. Those kind of, they loved defending. He loved defending. I mean, the way that he would celebrate tackles, like scoring a goal. Remember the way he celebrated that tackle in the dying minutes when Juventus knocked out Tottenham in the Champions League, maybe it was 2018.
For me, the hooking of Bukayo Saka is just the most quintessentially Giorgio Chiellini thing. For me, that's just his career. Knowing what to do to stop a goal, get a yellow card and take one for the team is just, I just love that. That is iconic. It's just absolutely iconic.
It was. He wasn't a dirty player. He was.
No. He
was
wasn't dirty. No. Furbo isn't dirty. No. For me, dirty is what Mourinho and Mancini are. At Roma, that right now. And Mourinho never used to be dirty. Now his Roma are a dirty side because he's completely mentally destabilized that club, and the squad. But Chiellini was never dirty. He was hard. He played on the like Acerbi's doing now just on the limit. That's not playing dirty. That's just the dark arts to pay tribute to our Prem-face friends that they love to use. That is different. That's different. Dirty.
But a man marker. I mean, a fantastic man marker. I mean, again, you don't get man markers really in the. I mean, Acerbi's a good. Maybe Acerbi's the last one actually. But but Chiellini. I mean. A man marker in an age of zonal marking. I mean, you just don't get man markers anymore today. And I mean, he had some great battles against some great attackers. I mean, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I mean, I think he was Zlatan's bogeyman. Zlatan rarely, if ever, got the better of him. He would always seem to do brilliant against him. Luis Suarez, of course, that famous biting incident. He knew all the tricks in the book, like you said. And he was a winner as well. He was a winner. And he was a leader. I mean, one of the best leaders of his generation. I mean, he embodied everything about what it meant to be a leader, what to be a captain. He was a warrior on the pitch. And he's somebody that you said about Calabria earlier in the show about what it means to be a captain. I mean, you had Chiellini as your captain. You would stand by and you would die for him in battle. I mean, he led by example. But also with his class off the pitch as well. I mean, on the pitch, I think sometimes he can be mistaken for being this kind of hard man brute who had this win at all costs mentality, which I guess is true in some facets, as you've just explained. But let me tell you from experience, he is one of the good guys in football. I mean, off the pitch, he was such a lovely person, or is such a lovely person. He's so generous with fans, with the media. I mean, I can't remember covering Tottenham versus Juventus game a few years ago, and Tottenham won the game. And after the game, he spent 30 minutes, probably more than 30 minutes, with the media, with the fans, just talking to them, laid back, smile on his face, so relaxed. And this is a game Juventus had just lost. And he was such a lovely person, so generous. But he also believed that what happened on the pitch should stay on the pitch. And I just remember how he behaved after Luis Suarez bit him infamously. I mean, he said after that game that Suarez, he called for Suarez not to be punished, and for this vicious, this big campaign there was against Suarez, and obviously he got a long ban, didn't he, for that Suarez? And he was saying that, let's not all punish him like we are and victimise him. He said he understood it, and this was despite Italy being knocked out because of it. I mean, Suarez should have been sent off. Uruguay should have gone down to 10 men. Italy qualify from the group and go through to the last 16 in that World Cup.
Well, this is what I mean about respecting your opponents in Italian football. This is something that I really, that I absolutely love about Italian football. To tie back what I said, that there's a lot of madness, there's a lot of stupidity, but overall, you always respect your opponent. What happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. You don't take it too far. You show grace in victory and defeat, and that's why I feel that how I feel about Chiellini off the pitch was exactly that, a gentleman, a very classy guy. So no, he is one of the
a great ambassador for Juventus and for Italian football, and the best Italian and Serie A defender, I think, has to be over the last 15 years. I mean, since the Cannavaro, Nesta, Zanetti, Thuram, Maldini generation, I think
Barzagli gives him a run for his money, but I would probably agree that in terms of Italian defenders, it's difficult to argue with that.
Well, I think Italian and Serie A. I mean, he was named 3 times. He was 3 times Serie A Defender of the Year before the award was scrapped in 2011. And then since then, he was in Serie A Team of the Season 5 times after that. So let's say 8 times. He was 8 years. He was in the Serie A Team of the Season. I mean, no one else is going to be. I mean, Koulibaly, I guess, was fantastic as well.
Kim Min-jae, Thiago Silva.
Kim Min-jae 1 year. I mean, we're talking about longevity.
We're talking 20 years. We're talking Thiago Silva, for me, I think was unbelievable. Walter Samo. I mean, it depends on how long you want to go. But if you look at his career and how during his peak, you're probably right. I think Barzagli.
Over a long period, yes, I think there's no doubt. If you want to narrow it down to who was the best at their peak, then there's more of a debate. Over a shorter period, I mean, Thiago Silva was great. Walter Samuel, fantastic. I mean, probably going a little bit further back with Samuel, aren't you? But the last kind of, let's say, 10 years or 12 to 15 years. And of course, an Italy legend. I mean,
no doubt.
117 caps, fifth most in the history of the Italy national team. Played in 2 World Cups, 4 Euros, and of course, gave us that crowning moment. He captained Italy to win Euro 2020, the age of nearly 37. And was absolutely brilliant in that tournament, especially in the knockouts, the wins against Belgium, Spain and England, and so many iconic moments in that tournament. One in particular, which you've mentioned, pulling Saka back. But I mean, I love the mind games with Jordi Alba in the penalty shootout toss-up. I mean, I thought that was great.
Shithousery, man. Like he's...
And he's one of those players, that kind of, it was great to see him win that tournament because he'd never won one of the, like the major continental tournaments.
International,
whether it's a World Cup, a Euro, or a Champions League. You always feel a bit sorry when there's a great legendary player that doesn't win one of those 3. And obviously, he failed to win 2 Champions Leagues with Juventus. And obviously, there was no chance of winning a World Cup with the way Italy had been in the World Cup. But so it was lovely to see him win it. Of course, the legendary partnership with Bonucci, the BBC with Barzagli and Buffon behind him. I mean, those 4 did so many great things together. And of course, went close to winning Euro 2012. They excelled at Euro 2016. I think the one regret, as with all Italians, is the World Cup performances during Chiellini's career. Not him, but Italy. I mean, 2 failed World Cup qualifications in a row.
It's funny that how Verratti and him and Marchisio to a certain extent as well, like 3 fantastic talents, world-class players who played in Italy during the Italian national team's probably darkest days. Of course, Verratti and Chiellini were able to win something and salvage something from winning the Euros. But It's interesting. It's interesting.
No, absolutely. Legendary career, and we'll see what happens to him next. I think he'll return to Juventus. I think that's a guarantee. Sooner. Pretty soon, I would say.
Yeah, I think
within the next year or two, I think he'll be back at Juventus.
I think so as well.
In a director role or ambassador, or not ambassador role, more important role than that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're going to build a new Juve with somebody who people respect and also is a nice guy, I think he is almost a shoo-in to work for Juve. This new Juve, no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute guarantee, and it's what he wants as well. He said that in an interview in which he also said that West Ham were better than anyone. But we'll let him off. We all have our off days, don't we? We'll let him off for that. We'll let him off for that. Okay, right. God, we can't make him Prem Face of the Week, can we?
We can. We absolutely can. But we won't do it on the week where he retires.
yeah, we won't. Right.